What's up, Watchdogs? Welcome back to the circus, where common sense goes to retire and body cams never blink. Yesterday's episode, our star, dumbass cop, couldn't figure out who even called about a disturbance, so he helpfully created one himself. He then got a buddy with zero authority to pretty please trespass folks from a public post office and abracadabra manufactured probable cause after arresting Texas gal audits. Chef's kiss. Mwah! Today's episode, we get to watch him answer every question the wrong way while sweating like a Kindle at a book burning. Popcorn ready? Before we press play on this masterclass in How to Look Nervous 101, smash that like button so the algorithm stops obstructing justice. Subscribe so you don't miss the sequel, and ring the notification bell like you're calling internal affairs yourself. Alright, roll it. Let's see how many times he can say the quiet part out loud.
I won't take up too much of your time. I'm basically just going to go through, so in her complaint, which I'll give you a copy of when we're done, there were seven different complaints that she wanted to file. I've already gone through, interviewed everybody at the post office, everything like that, and there's a couple of follow-up questions after that. But if you have any questions, I have all the videos saved. If you want to watch any video or anything like that, just let me know. So her first complaint was failed to properly identify yourself. So she asked for your name and badge number. You said it's right here. By policy, we have to verbally state, other than if there was any extenuating circumstances to prevent you from doing that. To your knowledge, or is there anything that was extenuating that prevented you from giving name and badge number?
I mean, I was eventually going to do it, but I'm investigating the call.
So we'll get there, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't denying her access to that. It was just, yeah, we'll get to it.
All right.
I guess I could have worded it better. But no, that's my name.
Alright. Second one was that basically you tried to solicit a trespass to force an illegal arrest. So looking at her video, looking at your video, talking to postal employees, well, I'll let you explain. You're going to a criminal trespass. What do you need in order to...
They don't want her there.
File it?
They've asked her to leave. She's
They
not leaving.
being...
The business owner.
Alright.
Or whoever's in charge of that building.
So if you're yelling at the business owner, hey, do you want her there, want her here, that's not you soliciting to get her out of there, that's you getting what you need, elements of the offense to conduct that arrest.
Yes.
Is that basically what happened?
That's what I did.
Alright.
That's what I would have done anywhere else. You asked the person, hey, do you want them there or not? Yeah, I want them there. Or, no, I don't. I want to leave. Okay, good.
Good enough. And at that time, you did not have any cover with you, right? It was just you?
No, just me.
Okay. She also said that you refused to watch her video. Rollins did. I think you walked off to make a phone call. Rollins watched the video with her.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as you specifically watching her video, is there any evidentiary value of that video that need to be viewed right then?
In my opinion.
Okay. Where would that be? Like, I'm trying to figure out for the elements of the offense of criminal trespass, is there anything on that video that would have changed the filing of that case?
I think if somebody else said that, yeah, she could be there.
Somebody else
an employee or
Okay.
somebody else in charge of the business, but
Right.
I specifically asked the employee behind the counter who looked like the boss to me.
Do you, I know you eventually interviewed the postmaster. Do you know who that I think it was a black male that was behind there?
The black male was more like the manager, but she was the postmaster. So I wanted to find out who's the head boss, who's the person.
And that's who you went into her office after the fact and talked to her, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I wanted to confirm that, A, he was allowed to make that choice that she couldn't be there, and I wanted to find out who that postmaster was, and then I got confirmation that she's in charge. So I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Did we get a statement from her?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Number 4, that you never read her Miranda rights. When do we have to read Miranda rights?
When I'm asking her specific questions about that.
And she is
Detained.
okay. Was there any point in time you did any kind of custodial interrogation of her?
No.
To your knowledge,
To my knowledge, no.
any other officer, to your knowledge, asked her any kind of incriminating questions while she was in custody?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So how come the last officers when I came here didn't publicly trespass me? How come the last officers when I was here?
Do you have any weapons on you, anything like that?
How come the last officers
Do
when
you
I
have
was
any weapons on
here?
you or anything like
How
that?
come?
I'm asking you a question.
Right, and I started my question before you started yours.
You don't have to answer your question.
And I don't have to answer yours.
Cool.
You have anything in your pockets that we need to know about? A wallet or...
I don't answer questions just like your sergeant.
They
They never asked me, you want to look at that video? You want to watch the evidence?
And I asked you, I said, hey, they don't want you here. You
Yeah,
need to
but they
leave.
never
And you said no.
What's going on here today? I don't even know
Hey,
what's
can I
going
sit
on.
down here?
What's going on today?
So I can't.
Not it. What do you mean? So what?
And I've already done this, and it's on my.
Okay. So when you were where the first place you were standing at over
Yeah.
in front of the counter,
Ah,
is typically
that-
where they conduct business. Had they asked you to move out of the way?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Nothing.
Refused to contact supervisor. So I think I briefly talked to Lieutenant Estelle. He was not here.
No, he wasn't here, and that's why I made the phone call to Chief. And I said, hey, I just want to make sure clarification on what we're doing here and make sure everything's on the up and up.
Did not contact Postmaster General. Obviously, you did. That was when you talked to her. And did not properly inform her of criminal trespass and consequences of her not following through. So she made the. I think it was on Rollins. I think it was on Rollins' video because you had stepped away. She had made the. Or no, actually it was you. She made the comment that nobody ever asked her to leave. Do you remember specifically stating you need to leave or you're going to go to jail?
I don't remember.
What do you remember? What you did say to tell her basically she needed to leave?
No, I don't remember.
And I'll-
Off my video, I don't remember.
All right. So watching your video, I made notes, and basically correct me if I'm wrong. She was interrupting people as both you and the postal employees were trying to talk. So you said, hold on, sorry. You told her once, so you asked, do y'all want her to give her business? I eventually found out what was said, but on the video, when you said, do y'all want to give her business, she immediately starts yelling. So I never heard, as far as on video, what they said. When I went to the post office and interviewed them, it was like, yeah, basically everybody there didn't want her there. She was interrupting the line, she was harassing customers, whatever. So she responds saying they don't have an option, this is not Walmart. At that time, you hand motion to the door. Nothing verbally, but you make a hand motion, basically she needs to come to the door. You then tell her, come outside with us, you're making a scene. Do you believe a reasonable and prudent person would see that as a request or a demand? Come outside with us, you're making a scene. Your opinion.
It's a request.
Okay. And
Because my intent was that if she's causing a scene, she's disrupting business. Let's calm down. Let's go out here and talk about this. That way I can talk to them without her being there and without her showing,
do you feel like you had an opportunity to ever have that rational conversation with her?
No,
Why was that?
because she was so adamant and talking so much.
Okay.
That's why I had to yell over her. Hey, do you want her business? Let's keep going. Let's get out of here because
Right.
you're disrupting.
You then say, let's go, again, tell her, let's go outside, and you reach toward her. That's when she steps back, don't touch me, whatever. You remember that part? Okay. You then tell her, they want you gone if you don't leave, and then you are interrupted by her. Do you remember that?
No, not
Okay.
specifically.
She then says they don't have the right to tell me to go because I'm not doing anything illegal. Does illegal activity have anything to do with criminal trespass? Okay. And
I think she said something about free press or something. She was allowed to be there, which
right, and we'll get to that because the next time a postal employee asked her a second time to move out of the way of the customer service line because she was holding up business.
Mhm.
She then states, quote, "I'm in my free space." So you've already told her if you don't leave, or they want you gone. If you don't leave, that's when you're interrupted. I can only assume you're going to say if you don't leave, you're going to go to jail. If you don't leave, you're coming with me. If you don't leave, some sort of enforcement activity. You didn't have a chance to say that. And then she says she's in her free space and refuses to move out of the line. So at that point, during the course of those things that I just read to you, at what point did you make a arrest decision? Hey, she's going to jail because of criminal trespass.
right then.
So
Clearly saying that she's not moving, she's allowed to be here, she's free space, I'm not going anywhere.
So lay out the elements of the crime for me. You determining criminal trespass because who wants them gone?
The employee,
The employees want them gone.
postmaster,
Y'all tried to relay, in my opinion, a normal, reasonable, prudent person would think, hey, all these things are being said, I need to go. Would you agree?
Mhm.
They then refused to go,
tried to
so
de-escalate the situation by getting her outside, talk about this, calmly explain to her, but typically we usually do, rather than just hooking people up and taking them out of the building.
right.
Try to explain to her, but that was never an option. And I'm not going to make an arrest by myself, especially with her all amped up.
So, in your opinion, did you
She had more than enough time to walk out on her own.
not properly inform her, or did you not have the opportunity to properly inform her?
I didn't have the opportunity to.
And who impeded that opportunity?
She did.
So those are the complaints. A couple other follow-up questions that I have. So whenever you turn your video off, walk outside, Rollins takes over talking to her. You turn your video off, make a phone call. That phone call was to Chief Stogner.
Mm-hmm.
Chief Stogner told me that, to his recollection, when you called him, the questions were basically concerning the legality of trespassing people from public property. When I interviewed Rollins, he pretty much said the same thing about people in the PD, people in the library, things that we've had issues with in the past.
Yes.
Chief told you that based upon a cursory search that he was looking at, there was no issues with the trespass, and that you should seek guidance from the postal inspector. He was 99% sure he said postal inspector. Do you remember if he said postal inspector or postmaster?
I don't recall
You
which
don't
one.
know? Okay. And that he thinks that the verbiage or whatever was confused. You told him before they got on the phone, hey, no problem, they're here, I'll get with them. So that's when you went in and talked to the postmaster. You never reactivated your video when you went in and interviewed her.
Mm-hmm.
Before you and Rollins walked in there, you kind of pointed Rollins' BWC. Was that a, hey, make sure you're recording because I'm not, or were you trying to tell him something different? Do you understand you remember what I'm talking about? I'll show you just so there's no question.
I think I do, but I can't recall if it was to.
Can you see that? So before y'all go in, you kind of point at him. He turns around, like real confused. Walk back in. He points at his own BWC, and you kind of look at him. Do you remember what that was about or in reference to? Any idea? No. And I think this was there. Who did the report?
Johnson.
And do you know if an FI was ever done, criminal trespass FI for the post office on her?
It's supposed to be.
Were you ever here to approve the report, or was that after you'd already gone?
It was after I gone. I did my supplement and put it in her case, and she stayed after.
Okay. So you never did an FI?
I didn't know.
Okay. And I think that's it. Yeah, the notification of supervisor, you call chief, so that's notification. Any questions for me? That's it.
Okay.
All right, Watchdogs, quick recap with a little extra seasoning. So good old Dirk, 2-day unpaid vacation Younts, took a tiny time out. Think of it as a staycation where your wallet cries. Meanwhile, tomorrow's video is a Duncanville post office follow-up, and guess what? We actually spotted some good changes. Crazy what a little sunlight does, right? Then I pop over to the Duncanville Police Department to pay for the records. Yep, the ones you watched yesterday and the one you're watching right now. Because apparently transparency comes with a receipt. And right on cue, guess who we see? None other than our special guest, Dirk Younts, rolling into work. Now, since he didn't want to answer Texas Gal's questions, he really had some truly Olympic-level dumb answers for the Internal Affairs Lieutenant. So I thought it'd be great to bring a fresh batch of our own special questions, the kind that make policy sweat. So before we go, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment with your thoughts, and ring that notification bell like IA is doing a roll call. Donation links are down below, and consider becoming a member for early and exclusive access to the spicy stuff. Now, sunlight is still the best disinfectant. I'm your boy BZWATCHDOG, and I'll see you on the next video.
BZWATCHDOG.